I'll be the first to admit that when someone mentions Wolfenstein, my mind jumps to the visceral and often ridiculous series of first-person shooters owned by id Software. I'm sure I'm not alone as well. Wolfenstein has become a household name. In the 24 years or so since Wolfenstein 3D was released, the series has seen many iterations, with 2001's return to Castle Wolfenstein, the 2009 reboot labelled Wolfenstein, and the 2014 reboot Wolfenstein The New Order, all taking the franchise in different directions. The series is a pillar of the FPS genre and has a lasting legacy to boot. However, unknown to some, Wolfenstein 3D was not the first in this series. That title is held by an often omitted and quirky 8-bit adventure game, the original Castle Wolfenstein. Released in 1981 for the Apple II, Castle Wolfenstein was designed and primarily developed by the legendary Silas Warner, whilst he worked at the now defunct Muse Software. I'm not going to go into exactly what made Silas Warner so legendary, as that would require a whole separate video. However, I will leave a link in the description to a fantastic article covering his life and his works, which I would highly recommend you check out afterwards. The plot of the game is simple. You're an escaping prisoner, armed only with a pistol and 10 rounds of ammunition. You are tasked with escaping from the titular castle, navigating from room to room on the hunt for secret war plans, all the while killing, robbing and sneaking past the numerous enemy guards. Yeah, sneaking. Castle Wolfenstein was an early prototypical example of stealth in video games, and whilst it might not look like much, it provided the player with a number of different mechanics and systems that were groundbreaking for its time. This included the guards having a line of sight, being triggered into an alerted state if you are seen, lockpicking chests to gain new items such as grenades and keys, as well as ammunition and bulletproof vests, and guards being able to hear nearby gunshots and respond accordingly. The most impressive of them all, however, was the ability to steal an enemy uniform in order to traverse through rooms undetected. Uniforms could be found either in chests that had been lockpicked, or on the bodies of your fallen foes. It meant that many of the rooms could be navigated without alerting or killing any of the troops, in turn making your navigation to your goal quicker. The twist, however, is that this would only work with the standard guards. The substantially tougher and more intelligent SS troops, who can be found in many of the rooms, would not be fooled by your potentially ham-fisted disguise, and would beckon you over for inspection if they see you. Dispatching these foes was no easy task, as they wore a bulletproof plate distinguished by the SS insignia, allowing them to take a number of bullets before falling, as well as being able to chase and follow you from room to room, something that the standard grunt was unable to do. Sneaking was therefore your best friend, allowing you to rob them at gunpoint, something which was easily done against the normal guards, and kill them without issue. Another impressive feature of the game was its use of digitalized voices. Inspired by the arcade title Berserk, Castle Wolfenstein's enemy would exclaim a number of German phrases, such as Halt and Achtung at the player, as well as emit distorted death throes upon being felled. Due to the limitations of the technology at the time, however, the use of these was limited. Regardless, it added to the overall atmosphere in the game, and set itself apart from the other games on the market at the time. Unlike the popular roguelike games, the castle itself was generated upon startup of the game, with it remaining persistent throughout the playtime, whether the player dies or loads back a game. A new castle can be generated manually upon starting a new game, or when a player shoots an explosive crate, the latter of which will kill you outright. Upon completion of the mission, you're awarded with a promotion by the Allied High Command. Starting with Private First Class and ending in Field Marshal, the ranks alter later game difficulty for that playthrough, and change the generated castle's layout. By July of 1982, the game had sold over 20,000 copies and was available for the Apple II, the Commodore 64, MS-DOS, as well as the Atari 8-bit family of consoles. The Apple II version even won the Computer Game of the Year at the 4th Archie Awards. It was successful enough then that a sequel titled Beyond Castle Wolfenstein was ushered into development. Released in 1984, Beyond sees the player embark upon a plot to kill Adolf Hitler by finding and planting a bomb outside of his secret meeting room, a plot that bears striking resemblance to the July 20th plot, or Operation Valkyrie, headed by Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg. It expanded upon the gameplay of the original, by adding and tweaking a number of features. The player was now able to drag dead bodies to hide them and block passageways. The grenades were replaced with a dagger used to make silent kills, and with the new pass system, guards would make periodic checks for a pass that was unique to each floor. Failure to present the correct pass or failing a bribe would cause the guard to attempt a bunker-wide alarm or simply kill the player. Despite all of these changes, however, the core gameplay remained more or less true to the original. However, with the crash of 1982 sending sales of home consoles plummeting, the future of Muse Software was not looking good. Muse Software filed for bankruptcy in 1985, and they were officially closed by 1987. With that, they lost the rights to the Wolfenstein IP, and the name lay dormant. It wasn't until the early 1990s that the name was once again in the public eye. Now in possession of video game pioneers id Software, they would go on to create the legendary Wolfenstein 3D and prequel Spear of Destiny, permanently cementing the franchise and the name as classics. It can't be looked over though, the importance of the original Castle Wolfenstein. With its many pioneering design choices and ideas, it has undoubtedly shaped the gaming landscape forever, not only through its own systems and mechanics, but through the very name which it possesses. Many of its practices and ideas would go on to inspire future developers, with titles such as Hitman adopting a disguise system not too dissimilar, albeit with significantly more depth, to Wolfenstein's. The Thief series too. It essentially invented modern 3D stealth with its smart use of lighting and mood, but many aspects and systems within the game were inspired by Castle Wolfenstein, such as picking locked chests, guards having a set route, and the sound response system. Its reach was wide and its legacy is lasting, and whilst it is often overshadowed by the significantly more popular and influential Wolfenstein 3D, the original Castle Wolfenstein remains a pioneer of the genre and a classic of the medium, something that I think everyone should play at least once. Thank you for watching.